Brothers and sisters, thanks for joining. Hey, today I want to talk about probably the most important story in the world, which is the argument between Trump and Zelensky. On Friday, Zelensky asked to come to the White House to do the signing in front of the media of the deal that Trump wanted to get the negotiations started around a peace deal with Russia and really get the U.S. engaged. And it went wrong. And the deal didn't get signed, as everyone in the whole world probably knows. So I'm not going to watch the whole video, but I think it is important to actually watch what happened because there's a lot of things being said on the internet. And honestly, I don't think most of the people who are saying them actually watched what actually happened. And so I'm not going to watch the whole video, but I am going to watch the part about the dust up, and I'm going to pause it and comment as we go through. I will put the video in the comments, so if you want to watch the whole video, and I do think that's important. There is a lot of good stuff in the video, and the meeting actually went fairly well and was fairly cordial. There was a few tense times, but it actually was I think a productive, good meeting in front of the press pre-signing until it wasn't. and it went wrong somewhere a little after the 40-minute mark. So I'm going to start at around 37 minutes, and we'll just see where this goes, and we'll see, what my comments are on it. So let's do it.
No, we don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you...
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well.
Yeah, so I think this is a good thing. I know a lot of people are saying, Trump is in Putin's pocket. I actually don't believe that. The Biden administration did not talk to Putin for years, and I think Europe didn't either, I believe. That's not how you get peace. You have to have a negotiation to get peace. So Trump is trying to talk to Putin, and he's trying to talk to Zelensky and to get these negotiations started. That's all he's trying to do here. He doesn't know if he can actually get a deal. Well, he says he can get a deal, but we don't know. And the media keeps saying that, Trump is in Putin's pocket. No, he just wants to get a deal done. And this is the way you do it. You got to talk to both of them. You can't just do it with one. And the media is also saying, Trump's going to cut out Zelensky, and Zelensky's not going to be part of the solution. No, that's also nonsense. What Trump is trying to do is get Zelensky and Putin to the table to talk. And then the only people that really matter in this are Ukraine and Russia. They're the ones who are going to decide to stop fighting. Trump is trying to be the mediator to try to make sure that those talks happen. And he is. He's strong-arming them a little. He's pushing them to come to the table because he wants peace. But at the end of the day, the agreement is going to have to be between Russia and Ukraine. Now, Europe has been complaining that they're not involved, but I actually agree with Trump. Why should they be involved? They've had 3 years to get involved in peace negotiations, and they chose to send weapons and not to talk to Putin. So they had their chance, and they're actually not needed. It's Russia and Ukraine that are going to decide when they're going to stop fighting and how that's all going to work out. And Trump's just kind of forcing them to do it because America doesn't really want this war to continue. All right, let's see what else they have to say.
I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about. So we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who?
Yeah, and so I think he's really talking about the deal of these rare earth minerals that the U.S. is going to get access to develop. And I think that's actually genius. And I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, this is just so America can make $1 billion. And I know Zelensky probably doesn't feel like he owes America anything because Biden gave him the money as grants. I think I've heard Zelensky say that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Trump wants this as part of the deal to get Trump engaged in the negotiation. And it's actually really smart because if America economically is really tied to Ukraine going forward, the Russians are going to think twice about attacking in the future. And if American companies are actually mining minerals, you heard the reporter. She said some of these areas are near the contested areas or even in the contested areas. So if American companies are working in those areas, again, Putin is going to think twice about attacking again through that area because American casualties could bring America really into this conflict militarily. And so I actually think this deal is actually really, really smart. And I get that might not be enough for Zelensky as a security guarantee. He's always talking about security guarantees, but it's a start. And what Trump said is he would look at what are they going to do to tell the Russians to get out or whatever in the future, because we don't know until the deal gets done. They've got to sit down and decide together. Trump, when I say together, Trump and Putin and Zelensky, what can Zelensky and Putin live with to get them to pull their troops back and stop fighting? And until we know that, there's really not a lot of point speculating on what they're going to do. So again, I don't think this is bad.
Who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian
They'll
forces?
be protected.
European
The agreement
forces?
will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings, I don't think they're going to survive.
He's not wrong. So for for people that see this in Europe, I know you guys probably get a lot of news from CNN, but since they got the election so completely wrong, and they kept saying how Vice President Harris was going to win in a landslide, they kept saying how bad Trump was, no one was going to vote for him. The American people have realized that CNN was spouting a lot of misinformation, and honestly is not to be trusted. So CNN is actually now cutting all of they've cut several of their big hosts because they just make too much money because no one's watching and they can't afford them anymore, and they've lost tons of advertising. So their ratings are way down because the American people just honestly don't believe them, so they don't watch them anymore. So again, Trump's not wrong.
Let's go. Please, go.
I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want?
Yeah. So again, he's not wrong. If Trump comes out and antagonizes Putin, you don't get him to the table. It doesn't matter. Leave the emotion out. Yeah. Granted, Putin invaded Ukraine. Putin was the aggressor here. No doubt. Agreed. But we got to not focus on that. We need to get them to the table so that we can get this to stop. And the only way we get them there is if we treat them both with respect, both Zelensky with the respect he deserves and Putin with the respect he deserves, and try to be nice to both of them. If Trump comes in and gives lots of missiles to you, keeps giving lots of missiles to Ukraine, and says, you know, we're going to protect you no matter what, then Putin's going to be like, hey, why should I even talk to you guys? So again, you know, the only way this ends is with some compromise. I'm sorry, people who want Putin to pay a price, and that's what they're really looking for, they're going to be disappointed here. Like that's not how you get peace.
But it'd be tough. I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
All right, so at this point, everything's gone pretty well, and this is where it's about to go off of the rails. And what you're going to see, I think, is J.D. Vance is going to decide he wants to interject. And a lot of people say J.D. Vance caused this problem. Well, let's watch it and see. I'm going to rewind just a little bit, just so you guys can see it all.
Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask?
All right, so now you just heard what J.D. Vance said, where he interjected, and the media is all saying J.D. Vance is an ass, and he got all upset and yelled at Zelensky and caused this. I think what J.D. Vance just said was very reasonable. All he did was kind of pile on a little with Trump's point that we needed diplomacy to get this thing done. He said it very reasonably, very calmly. He did take some shots at Biden, to be fair, but he didn't take any shots at Zelensky. And he even said Putin invaded. So I don't think J.D. Vance was out of line yet. Okay, I'm going to rewind again, and then let's see what J.D. Vance says, and then let's see what happens after that.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied it, our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014
2014.
and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was
he killed,
was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly
but,
right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president, In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr.
strong-
President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for
Have you
trying to
ever
bring
been-
it into this
Have
conflict.
you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems?
Yeah. And so, and you know, everyone has different perspectives, but I'm going to tell you what I just saw. Remember, you got to remember the perspective of Trump and the vice president. Zelensky is here to sign a deal that's already negotiated. That's it. All he's got to do is show up, smile for the cameras, that he asked to be there. He asked to be in Washington. Trump wanted him to sign this thing 10 days ago or more, 2 weeks ago in Munich, but he wanted this. They don't want to be arguing in front of the cameras, and I put it to you that Zelensky caused this because all Vance did was say, hey, we need diplomacy. And then Zelensky decided to start an argument. Zelensky decided to point out how Russia can't be trusted. And Zelensky is not wrong, okay? Let me be clear. Putin can't be trusted. He has broken deals before. I get it, 100%. But this is not the place to argue with Trump and Vance about it, not in front of the media. You do that behind the closed doors. This is part of the negotiation. This is what Vance said. I don't appreciate you litigating this in public. You do this in the back, and then that's where you figure out what security guarantees will satisfy Zelensky. We're just here to sign a mineral deal. So I know you may disagree. Tell me in the comments, but I think Zelensky started this fight, and he went. He's invited into the White House. This is Trump and Vance's house. This is America. He's hat in hand asking for our help. I know Trump had to force him, but he's asking for American help is what he's doing here because he needs it. He's not doing this because he's being charitable to Trump. He's doing this because he needs it for his country. This is not the place to start an argument. He should have come in here, signed the deal, and went home. And then next time when they're talking in private, he brings up all this stuff. So again, I think Zelensky caused this fight. I'm going to rewind just a little bit. But yeah, this is where Vance gets heated.
Bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
All right. So this cracked me up when I saw it. This reminded me of Monty Python. As soon as I saw this, I laughed when I first saw it. This was, if you guys ever remember the Monty Python skit, right? The mobsters show up with the colonel at the army base, and they walk in, and they're like, "Hey, those are nice tanks you have over there. Be a shame if something happened to one." And then they knocked the China off the side and try to get protection money out of the army. And the colonel's like, "What is going on?" That's what I saw here. Zelensky comes in and he basically threatened the United States. He basically is like, hey, the Russians are going to come for you. you know, what are you going to do when the Russians come for you? I saw it as the same thing. This whole thing is kind of crazy because Trump has been uncharacteristically calm this whole time. He's been very nice. This is not normal Trump. He's usually a little more crazy than this, and I think we're about to see the crazy. And why? Because he's trying to give Zelensky the respect that he deserves as president, a wartime president of Ukraine, who is under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and his people are dying. And Trump needs Zelensky's goodwill also to get Zelensky to the table to negotiate with Putin to get this war over. But now he's just threatened America in the White House in a way. Again, if you don't agree with me, so be it, but that's what I saw when I saw this. So I'm going to rewind it and we'll watch it to the end and we'll just see it. Now we'll see Trump in all his glory tearing into Zelensky.
Military, and do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the
saying,
cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You're
gambling with World War III.
what do you think
You're
about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation
He did.
for the United States of
What
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your
Starmer sent his
country.
people too, but they got along
Please.
better.
You think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
I don't know if that's
We gave
true,
you
but
military
we,
equipment.
America did
And
give
your
him
men
a
are
lot.
brave, but they had to use our military.
What about we are
If
speaking?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
course.
but
You're
I
saying
want
you don't
people
want
to
a
stop
ceasefire.
dying.
I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire.
guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was with
wasn't
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what if
She's asking, what if Russia
Putin
breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
broken
What if they
ceasefire
broke it?
so many
I don't know.
times.
They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
But what-
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam.
Shifty Adam
And he
Schiff.
had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom.
It's
It was
not true. I mean,
disgusting.
it is
and then
true.
they said, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to
He's
put up
not
with
wrong.
that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh?
Yeah, I think we've had.
This is going to be great television,
Yeah,
I
it
will
is.
say that.
Yeah, Trump is great for television. So it didn't go well for Zelensky here. We all know what happened. He didn't sign the deal. He left. And, a lot of people are, watch this, and a lot of people, especially overseas, Europe, think that this is going to hurt Trump with his folk, and it's going to hurt, Vance because, Trump's going to be mad at Vance. No, that's not it at all. Just wait, look, watch the polls. You will see. Zelensky really messed up here. He put himself out in public in an argument with Trump, who, like it or not, the majority of the American people voted for Trump and put him in. And one of the things he campaigned on was, I am going to stop this war in Ukraine. He told us all he was going to do it. And on the Vance thing, actually, I think Vance is in solid with Trump now. He just tried to defend his boss in here, and then his boss came to his kind of defense, and the two of them kind of tag teamed. I think they're completely aligned. And I think I saw here, Vance is the XO, and Trump is the commander. And the XO came up and was like, a bulldog, doing what his commander wants. He was that kind. He wasn't the peacemaking kind of calm your commander down XO. He was the XO who's like, whatever you say, sir, I'm in. And I think he just proved that. I think to the MAGA crowd, Vance just kind of buffed his credentials a little bit today. And then I think you're going to see in the polls, there's going to be a massive loss of support for the war in Ukraine after what Zelensky did here, because the American people did not want to see this, and Trump didn't want to see it, and Vance didn't want to see it. And you know what? The Ukrainian people need this deal. That's the shocking and hard truth of this thing. Now, what did Zelensky do? We all know what he did. After this, instead of kind of trying to play nice and placate Trump, which is what he should have done, in my view, he runs off to Europe, and Sir Keir Starmer gives him like £2 billion for more missiles. Trump is telling him, I want peace now. I don't want to actually give you any more missiles because you're a tough guy. I don't want to keep this war going. I want you at the peace table. Starmer's like, hey, we'll put boots on the ground in in Ukraine. That's what I saw. He said. That's a little more nuanced than that. He said he wanted to do it with U.S. backing and other Europeans backing. Now, how did that go? I think already we've seen that France said, yeah, they're in, but I don't think anybody else is in. I think Germany told them no. I know Italy told them no. Definitely Hungary and Slovakia told them no. We're not up for this because they're not dumb. Europe has underfunded its militaries for 30 years and depended on America to defend them. And so anyone who thinks that Ukraine can beat Russia without American involvement is living in another world. I'm sorry, just get over it. I don't care if you like Trump or not. That's the reality of the world. And Trump doesn't want to help. Trump wants peace. He said it. And why does he want peace? A lot of people are dying. And if he puts American boots on the ground, or if British boots, or if French boots are on the ground, that's the way to World War III. Russia is a nuclear armed power. They've got something like 6,000 nuclear weapons. Trump is trying to avoid World War III here, not start World War III. And so anyone who disagrees with this, fair enough, tell me I'm wrong. So Zelensky did that. He went to Europe, and the Europeans are all talking about, we're going to put $840 billion into the militaries and all this. It's all nonsense. Come on. I'd like it to happen, but Europeans can never agree on anything, not more than like a handful of them at a time. And so any kind of solid European army is a pipe dream. But I do think Europe should rearm, but it's going to be country by country, and each country is going to look out for its own interests. That's how it's always been. This is going to be interesting. We might be seeing the end of the European experiment. All right, so that happened. Well, but then what happened today? So today, Zelensky released a message on Twitter, I guess. I guess this is Twitter. It looks like Twitter. I'm not sure. But he released it somewhere. And what does he say here? Let's read it. Don't mind the cat. He likes to come play with me. I would like to reiterate Ukraine's commitment to peace. None of us wants endless war. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than Ukrainians. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get peace that lasts. We are ready to work fast to end the war. And the first stages could be the release of prisoners and truce in the sky. Ban on missiles, long-range drones, bombs on energy and other civilian infrastructure, and a truce in the sea immediately. If Russia will do the same, then we want to move very fast through all the next stages and to work with the U.S. to agree to a strong final deal. We do really value how America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. And we remember the moment when things changed, when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. Yeah, he's sucking up to Trump big time now. Because Trump's pretty proud of giving him those javelins. We are grateful for this. Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. It is time to make things right. We would like future cooperation and communication to be constructive. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time and in any convenient format. We see this agreement as a step toward greater security and solid security guarantees, and I truly hope it will work effectively. This is the message that should have got out Friday. They should have signed the deal and got this done. So all the warmongers out there, all the people that are all emotional that Zelensky was treated bad, put that aside. Like, do you want World War III or don't you want World War III? Who needed this more? Read this note. I'm telling you, Zelensky needed this deal. Otherwise, he wouldn't have wrote this note. I think, Zelensky, maybe he needed this bust up to, solidify in his head that, hey, the war's over, guy. It's time to make peace. And I get it. Zelensky's not wrong. I would hate Putin too. I don't want to give up territory. Honestly, what I think is going to happen is Putin is going to get Crimea and Putin is going to get Donbass. It's going to happen. And Zelensky's not going to like it, but it's either that or the war continues. And nobody really wants the war to continue. And that's the bottom line. It's like we shouldn't be rewarding Putin, but all other alternatives lead to World War III. Again, tell me if I'm wrong. And who wants World War III? All right. Thanks. Whether you liked it or not, that's what it is. If you want to see more, like, subscribe. I'll make more. But now you know what I think about the Zelensky, beatdown on Friday. Thanks, everyone. Bye.